Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Man, We're Too Old for This. We're missing one, but the three of us are still here with
the experience that some call Jason, and the dodgeball,
and the token in the middle, Tarky. And we're going to do a little conversation about overconsumption, typically in media nowadays. But I'm going to start this conversation with just kind of get you in the same ballpark as me, just in the same sandbox.
Okay.
Imagine I tell both of you, I'm going to show you a picture. It's a picture of an apple on a table. I take up the picture, I pop it up for 5 seconds, I pop it down. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the apple.
Yeah. So I say it's a picture of an apple. You both look for an apple.
Mm-hmm.
So I raise it up again for 10 seconds. Are you still going to look at the apple, or with this extra time, are you now going to look at the apple and kind of the surrounding?
Probably the surrounding, the table.
Yeah. Same for you?
Yeah.
All right. So imagine you're looking at it, and you notice there's this big yellow circle in the top left corner. I flip to another picture, I tell you what it is, I pull it up, and you see that big yellow circle in the top left corner again.
Okay.
If I keep pulling pictures, are you going to continue going, there's a common theme here, there's a common thing I keep seeing, I'm going to keep looking for it?
Probably. I would probably get where I'd start noticing that as quickly as whatever it was you told me was there.
Right. So the first one you look, you came in it fresh, not knowing what it was, new to it. And you took it for the face value of what you told it was going to be. Told you it was an apple, you looked for apple. You went, hey, I got the apple. Everything in this transaction worked the exact way I thought it was going to. Then when you went back to it a second time, you started to notice the things outside of what I told you it was going to be. And then you said, as we keep going through a similar motion over and over, you started picking out that oddity that I never mentioned every single time. I believe, especially with us in the communities of reading comics or watching movies, after a certain threshold, we start doing that overly. We start over nitpicking for this specific thing we want or specific thing we saw within a media that doesn't explicitly say it's going to be that. A simple way of saying it's like the X-Men. If you look at it from the outside, you've never read an X-Men before, you look at it, you go, it's superheroes.
Yeah.
And you read it, and for, let's say you catch it in the middle of a storyline where they're fighting something, you're like, oh, okay, it's superheroes. And then you get to the end where, they're not congratulated, they aren't, welcomed with warm arms for doing the heroic activity, and you get thrown for it. But as you continue to consume X-Men, that's the standard for X-Men. I was curious, with constantly consuming, do you feel with any specific comic or movie or show where you stopped looking at the face value of it and started looking for a specific thing within it?
As Jason don't know.
Or say a show you watch where the face value is there, but something on the outside has kind of badgered you out of it.
The best thing I can think of to fit your yellow spot analogy isn't something that I was looking for, and it's something our buddy Patrick has probably. Well, you can't Patrick would online too. The way he put it one time was with I think it was Robert Kirkman's writing. He kind of saw the pattern Kirkman uses behind it, and now he can't get into anything Kirkman writes because he can see the pattern and knows kind of what Kirkman's going to do when he starts running out of ideals. Watching The Walking Dead, reading The Walking Dead and watching the show, in both instances, it eventually happened to me, where you start to see the pattern more than you see in the show itself, and it's just.
And your critique starts to become less on what's going on in the show and more on, is it just following the same pattern, or is it breaking pattern?
It's just kind of repeating itself. And it happened to me story-wise at the same point in both of them. In the comics, I just got through the Negan War and then petered out. You know, within a couple of issues, I wasn't reading anymore. It wasn't really a conscious decision. It's just kind of, and it was the same with the show. I got about halfway through the Negan War. I still haven't watched the conclusion of the Negan War, despite the fact that I liked the guy playing Negan. I thought he was doing a great job. You know, it's not the individual episodes were getting horrible or anything.
It's just you get tired of it.
Yeah,
you get founded on
I
it.
guess 10 years of it was enough. And I'm wondering if that's what's happened in comics to some degree. Because you had comics in the 40s, they kind of petered out, they struggled with the 50s, they got real big in the 60s, and have kind of been going since then. So you've got like second or third generation writers at some point now. But you've got some of us that have read, the stuff back before we were born. We've read it all.
I don't know. That's probably in all forms of media, though, because I can remember the
Oh,
Flash.
yeah.
The Flash TV
I'm just using
show,
the examples
yeah.
that stick out to me the most.
Yeah, the Flash was like that for me. It got to the point where it's like every season, hell, seasons 1 and 2 were literally you could put them over each other and they match. Hell, even end the same damn way. They both end with Barry going back, but hey, my life's happy. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go time travel, fuck this up. And that was the end of both of those. There's a whole lot of stuff in our culture that you start going, my God, it's the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. The Marvel movie formula is truthfully like that. In a lot of ways, it's Dragon Ball Z. If you've ever sat down and watched Dragon Ball Z and watched the whole story, you've seen every damn one of them. It's literally every one of them. You know, the big bad shows up. Goku gets taken off the board for something, dead, training, hurt, something. You have all these side characters go fight the big bad, and they'll level up, and every time they level up, the bad guy levels up, so you'll have like one episode of them where they can almost fight the bad guy at this level. And, oh, well, he leveled up again. We're completely useless. And then Goku shows up and saves him. That's Frieza, that's Boo. You know, you kind of sit there and go, shit, okay.
Good job skipping Cell. Good job.
Yeah, well, they actually changed that one and said, let's let Gohan do some shine for a while.
And then like, but anyway.
Yeah, wait. I remember hating Cell for that reason. Hey, I came here to watch Goku beat the living hell out. What the hell you mean, this kid? It sucks.
It's the best. Anyway, but what really hit me with this idea of I've consumed too much of one specific thing is I was at a convention, an anime convention obviously, where else am I going to be? But I went to the viewing room, which I rarely ever do because I can watch anime whenever. I tend to do other things, but I was kind of in a lull between activities and wanted to take a break, so I sat down and watched. It was just some kind of rom-com style thing where the dude's giving terrible love advice because he's never dated anyone, but everyone thinks he's this big playboy, so he's giving love advice the best he can. Just terrible love advice. But you know, I'm seeing him watching it and like, alright, I know what joke's coming up. I know he's about to notice, about to realize there's a girl behind the door listening in that he didn't want to listen in. As he starts insulting her, then he has to change face and start, saying nice things about her. I start and realize all these jokes are coming. But as they hit, I'm hearing, laughter around me. But to me, it's obvious this is coming up, and I'm not going to laugh at it because I already kind of mentally prepped and saw it coming.
Even if you still find it a little amusing,
right?
It's not getting a full laugh at it.
I still enjoy the trope. I still enjoy the idea of it. It's just I've seen it enough that I can internally register instead of externally register. But I see all these people around laughing at it and enjoying it in in the way you enjoyed it the first time. And I went, because I was kind of critiquing it, going, I'm not really sure that's really landing for me. But I still hear all the people around it like, and I went, maybe I've just consumed too much of this. I should go to something else.
Yeah, you probably have.
Yeah,
that's one of the kind of things that I've had arguments with people online about. Is when they talk about in comics. Is when they go, well, I want the character to progress and this and that. No, you get to a certain point, and it's time to go to novels. It just is. you know, if you can't still kind of enjoy it for what it is, and you start going, well, I want to put 48-year-old me and 8-year-old me don't have the same taste. Well, that's a lot to kind of do. But the thing is, if I'm at 48, I'm sitting there going, well, I want it to progress because I've gotten older and progressed because I can see all this coming. Yeah, it's time to go to something else. It just is. If you can't accept it kind of for what it is, if you're not still getting the same joy out of it, yes, it's time to move on. That's kind of the problem with comics right now. Is you got too many grown ass people kind of coming in wanting like more mature things and something that's not designed for that.
Well, something else I'd like to put on the table with the growing, maturing aspect. I read a lot of manga. Manga tends to do that. But even with comics like Spider-Man, Spider-Man had a progression from his start. Had a progression of, he ended up having a kid. You watch from high school through college to having a kid.
Yeah.
But as you get to more recent state, it's kind of like they hit a brick wall and they said, we're not letting them pass this point. But those that had consumed it from the start, what at the point at which they started brick walling him, were you reading Spider-Man?
Yeah, because I was reading Spidey really, really heavy and was a big fan of the marriage. And when they did One More Day, and I didn't like the way they got rid of it. It was like, well, yeah. I can understand why. Because comics have, at least in comics, you kind of have to exist in a perpetual, infinite now. It's now. You can't change them too much because past a certain point, they stop being who you like. And as new people come in, that's just like when I started reading Spider-Man. Norman Osborn had been dead. I'd always heard about the character. My God, I wanted to see the character. I'd never seen the original Green Goblin in a Spider-Man book. Ever.
In the cartoons, the other forms of media I've done him with.
But I'd never seen Norman in a comic. So when they retcon him and bring him back, I can understand why. That's why death in comics don't really work, because it has to be in a perpetual now. As new people come in, they want to see the old people. Hell, a lot of the older readers want, if you like Norman, if you like this character, hell, you want to see him go. It's not a medium that lends itself to growth. You can do stuff for a little while, but you're gonna have to change it back. Bruce Wayne, hell, well, they did finally kill Alfred. They killed Alfred last year. How goddamn old Alfred is. Alfred was old when Bruce was a little boy. He was old when Dick was a little boy. He was old when, now Bruce has got, hell, teenage kids, and Alfred's still the same damn age. It just does not lend itself to progression.
It just seems kind of odd to me, though, because I can see, where it was like, we're progressing everybody. Oh, we can't really go any, we can't go any further. But then in that gap there, with a little bit on overproduction even, well, they got 60 years of this character. How do you write that without, burning the person that's read and consumed such a huge chunk of it? How do you keep it fresh and interesting while still not being able to progress?
Well, you always have to look at it in these things. Comics were something that you were meant to outgrow. They were not looking at, when you started reading at it, hell, I started reading comics at 3. When they start making those comics for my 3-year-old self, nobody was sitting around going, you're probably still going to be reading this at 48. No. I was supposed to get to a certain state and then go, you know what, I'm too old for this, and move on to something else. And new kids were supposed to come in and take that over. Our generation didn't do that. We've stuck around too damn long. I started reading at 3. How old are you now? 48. And I'm still reading them. Yeah, I was supposed to be gone. I was supposed to be like my dad.
There was supposed to be the door was supposed to revolve at some point.
Right. And that's the thing. That's why you hit these kind of stalemates is you've got a generation that, yeah, they stuck around. So, and that's the argument you hear from older people. Well, I want the character to progress. The character wasn't supposed to progress. You were. You were supposed to move out. Instead, you've hung around too damn long. And you want the character to grow like you have, and it's not designed to do that.
That made the fact they try to move comics in that direction though, maybe why they're dying. You're not getting new readers in to replace the old ones, and when we die off or finally give up the hobby.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's
and they price themselves to the point now that you can't make it for kids because kids ain't got that kind of money.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the thing where they didn't do like the Eagle. They didn't push you because, all right, 30-year-olds still like our product. 30-year-olds have their own money. Sweet. So we could charge $5 a book. I can charge $20 for a Marvel Legend, which, hell, as a child, I may have had like my Legends. Hell, if I was a kid with that stuff, I may have 10 if I was lucky. Because that's going to be every now and then, birthday and Christmas, and if I got a good report card, I could probably finagle my way into a Legend or two, but I wouldn't. No. Yeah. Not at $20 a pop. No.
But, overconsumption is here basically to stay. There isn't a way to not overconsume the media now.
Yeah, unless you just choose not to.
You're right.
You choose to restrain yourself. Or make sure that you branch off into multiple different somethings.
Because that's in manga right now, there's a common pattern of genre inflation, where something will pick up traction, be very popular, and then everyone will create something of that, and it creates this inflation, but everyone still buys and consumes it all at once. But then you've read, one style was basically slice of life. You're just following someone, kind of average, somewhat comedic life or somewhat actiony.
Somewhat sitcom comedy.
Yeah. That had a huge swath of it come in. Everyone consumed it, and at a point, they got tired of it. But that's because it all came out at the same time.
There was a glut of it, and eventually
it was a fad.
It died.
They overexposed.
Well, it's just you read so much of it all at once, you get tired of it, but then it starts to trickle back in with a good one, or a good one here, a good one there. With can you think of? With comics, the way I'm looking at the superhero comics, when the new Miss Marvel started dropping, that one was for me something that was a new superhero that I kind of just enjoyed reading. That there was no possible way to overconsume this character because it had just started. I really feel that's going to be kind of the solution with overconsumption, is to bring more new things in.
But the companies are hesitant to do that because you don't have the recognition.
Right, because it's easier to make Superman 3001 than it is to make, Captain Elastipants.
Though the companies are always putting out little stuff.
Yeah.
One thing that would probably help was if they went more to the miniseries format for a lot of these side heroes. Don't try to do, another Moon Knight ongoing series. It ain't going to last but a year. Do a 6-issue Moon Knight, You start off going to 6 issues. So fans of Moon Knight will be there. Other people might try it because they know it's 6 issues. I'm going to get the complete story.
Yep. And it's going to be a packed story that's 6 issues.
Yeah, and then they may do something else, and they may not. DC, for a little while at least, I don't know if they still are or not. For a little while, at least, they were doing that with like Raven. You got a 4 issue or so miniseries with it, 4 or 6, whatever. And then, a little bit later, okay, here's another one. And, it was a continuation, but it wasn't, they weren't putting the investment of ongoing in it.
You would probably extend the shelf life doing that as opposed to an ongoing something. Like I said, it's like me and you, we've been in comics so long. Hell, even Miss Marvel wouldn't do to me. It's another teen superhero. They throw in the little flavor text. Well, this one's Muslim, but it's Spider-Man. I've seen it with Spider-Man. I've seen it with Miles Morales as Spider-Man. I've seen it with her. I've seen it with Nova. I've seen, it's not. They didn't reinvent the wheel.
No, it's just
It's shit that if you've been in it long enough, yeah, you'd seen it before.
yeah. Naruto was shit if you've been in it long enough. You've seen it before, because hell, they completely recreated scenes from Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. But it was a fun enough show that people stuck around.
Yeah.
Like, I just want
Well, you put your little tweak on it, and fans of that genre go, well, it's something in the genre I like that's a little bit different.
I'm not saying Miss Marvel was new in the aspect of new ideology.
But for you coming in,
But that
she wasn't
was my point. Yeah, just like he was saying, it was new for you.
I've read Teen Heroes before.
Well, no. I mean, what I was about to say was him just coming in. It's a character that doesn't have a history stretching back to the 60s or the 40s.
Yeah.
I am deep into the superhero genre. I like the stuff that goes back that far. That's actually, something that appeals to me. On the other hand, I also like the whole new heroes cropping up. It's what I like about the Eric Masterson Thor. The problem was when they made him Thunderstrike, they always kept him the incompetent rookie. They should have progressed him up to competent hero and then stopped him. And it's like they stopped him at incompetent rookie.
So they got guarded him.
No. He was always at that level as Thor, and he stayed at that level as Thunderstrike till they killed him. Guy Gardner progressed past that, and then they regressed him. Like they did that with him. They've done that with Booster Gold multiple times. They keep trying to do it with Spider-Man, basically. They keep trying to erase where he was at. They keep trying to reboot teen versions. He ain't been a teen in my lifetime. I'm in my 40s, so most of your fans reading today ain't never read, out of the original run, ain't never read him as a teenager. That's not the Spider-Man they know or are attached to. Even the 90s cartoon, it was college year at least.
Yeah. He was only a teen in Spectacular. He was in Spectacular. He was a teen, and then the Disney stuff, he's been a teen.
They keep making him younger in the movies, trying to peel him back to that. Dare you say the movies are the greatest things since ever?
But
Don't mumble the camera up again.
keeping back up with it.
And this is already died on me.
Oh, what? No!
It's just that they're not responding.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But back to me watching and critiquing. Do you feel like you've gotten to that point with a specific comic or in comics in general where you just begin the critique before you really read it to enjoy it? Like you start reading it, you go, I know where this is headed. And you just kind of cut yourself off?
Sometimes. And that's kind of where you can tell a good comic writer. A good comic writer can kind of delay how long you catch on to that, or they can put enough twists into it that you're not 100% sure. That you might know the general pattern, but you're not sure exactly what steps they're going to take. I know this dance is going to start here and it's going to end here, but I'm not exactly sure what the steps are going to be all the way through.
Which, in 90% of stories, it's going to, progress to the hero's victory.
You get the whole
know
hero's
that.
journey,
Yeah.
construct and kind of all fiction. But that's a very baseline skeleton. You can do a lot of stuff within that.
I was just curious because, it just really dug into me of I want to stay in, I want to stay in anime. I've anime and manga have fallen out and come back in a couple times here recently. Of then one show comes up, I'll watch it. But it's just seeing that I really wish I could enjoy it the way the people around me are enjoying it. I wish I could have that guttural reaction again to it. But I haven't really thought of a way. I can't really work in my mind how I'd get that kind of reaction again.
What if you change genres? Or have you seen them all?
Well, I mean, that's the problem. Like, I can't think of a genre right now that, you know, I guess horror would be the genre that I've seen the least of in anime. But I've seen some of the best ones in it of that.
It sounds like it's time to go novels.
That's what I've done with superheroes.
I mean, it's God's honest truth. Once you get to a certain thing where it's like, this ain't doing it.
Well, I mean, that's why I read manga super heavy. I read thousands of chapters and stuff, but
I get what you're saying, because I've kind of gotten there with the Marvel movies. I was looking forward to seeing how Endgame wrapped stuff up out of that initial storyline. But I was not excited for Endgame like I used to be excited for a lot of the movies.
Yeah, guys. Well, it's just like anything. Even if you could have your favorite food, if you had your favorite food every day, you get sick of it. You really like it there in the beginning, and then it'd be okay, and before too long it'd be, anyway, I got to eat this again.
It was, the early days of the Marvel movies, they were an event. Now I get 2 or 3 of them a year. I enjoy them. I enjoy them like I enjoy a show, one of my favorite TV shows. I enjoy the individual episodes, but I'm not necessarily sitting there excited every time a new episode comes out. It's just like, oh, the next one's out. Oh, I'll go check that out. But, I don't know the last time I went and watched one twice in the theater.
I was living for Black Panther, so that was my big one. But pre-Black Panther and after Black Panther, it's the get-together that I look forward to. Because I know that's going to be, like Paul and some of them, I know that maybe a few times a year I see him. So it was always, let's see how big of a group we can get and go there and nerd out for a night. And that was the fun of it. The movie itself, shit, I don't. It's not, the formula. The movie is, for me, has become more the excuse.
for camaraderie.
Yeah, than the movie itself. And give a damn, you could take the movie completely out and stick something else in there that all of us want to get together and go do. I don't have a problem. Endgame I've seen once in theaters, one because I got hurt, but with Disney Plus, I watched it all the way through once. Yeah, I'm good. I think one thing that hurt Endgame though is hell I was disappointed in it.
No, that's fair.
I may have, because like Infinity War I saw 3 or 4 times in the theater.
That's fair. Endgame was weak.
And then I watched.
It had its really good parts.
Yeah.
Really, really good. The rest of it.
And then I watched, once I had Infinity War, I watched Infinity War, fairly often. Endgame, I didn't like how it ended. I didn't like the wrap up. Yeah, it was a meh movie. But outside of that, yeah, Thor Ragnarok once. The Spider-Man movies once that I regret truthfully seeing. I really don't like MCU Spike.
Not good. But that's beyond the scope of what we're talking about here.
Well, not really, because it shows how once you've kind of gotten founded on something, it goes from, hey, this is neat, to,
Because you formed a foundation of what this is, and once it went outside that foundation, you find no quality in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fair point. My view of Spider-Man is he's supposed to be funny. He's not funny in these movies. Everybody around him is funny in these movies.
Yeah.
He's not funny in these movies.
Yeah.
Which is the reason why they won't let things change. Because that's really the dichotomy that the creators face it. Well, I could do this, and you got one half, I want them to grow. And then you got other people, you change this to the point, this ain't the shit I like. So, hell, that's the current X-Men for me. I read that and go, this is X-Men fanfic. I don't like this crap. Where there are other people that I talk to that, oh yeah, I love it because they progress. There's what, you don't want them to progress? No. I I don't go to a hamburger joint all the time, but when I go to that hamburger joint, I want a hamburger. I don't want shrimp. I want a hamburger.
Don't get tacos at a hamburger place.
Yeah, you know, don't.
Maybe
don't,
a hot dog.
Don't do the Ryan Johnson. Don't subvert my expectations. The Last Jedi was him basically going to give you a Star Wars.
They expect the heroes to accomplish something, so mine won't. Everything they do will fail. Everything they will do will be pointless, which has really been that entire trilogy. So
yeah, I was about to say, hell, that was a
but it was really concentrated in that movie.
That was a Force Awakens, hell. You go to that and you realize, well, in fact, that was you. My God.
They expect this side trip to mean something, but it means nothing and accomplishes nothing.
Coming out of Force Awakens, it was like, my God. When you see that group shot at the end of Return of the Jedi, that's the last time any of them were happy. And you sit there and go.
But some of the examples we're throwing out aren't necessarily, I would say too much. Some of it's just they came along and they did a bad story. They did a poorly made movie. You know.
Well,
there's a line between I've just seen too much of these.
I don't know, because
somebody just did a bad job.
I'm going to take Star Wars and run with it. Part of what makes The Force Awakens as weak as to some people, I won't say everyone, is the fact that they did overconsume in the extended universe stuff. They formed a foundation of what they wanted the Star Wars timeline to be based on the extended universe books, the extended universe comics, because the ones that were good of that is what everyone made sure to read and look at and pay attention to, and they went, oh, I like this timeline. And and then they went in a different direction with it. That one was not a super solid direction, period, but was especially weak when you went back and looked at this huge swath of other material.
Let's agree with me. As soon as they announced they were chunking the expanded universe, I was a little pissed. Had I gone to The Force Awakens and it had been a good movie with an original story, again, I'd have lived with it. Because I read comics, I can do multiple realities. Not a big deal. I'd be pissed that they were no longer going to be continuing this story over here that I've been enjoying for 20 years, probably 15. But I got on board with the new one if the new one had been any good.
I think another thing with Star Wars was they got rid of the expanded universe and then gave you the cheap dime store knockoff of the stuff from the expanded universe.
But that goes into them, not going in the original direction with it.
Poor woman. Can't have nothing to go on.
Oh yeah. No history, nothing but these three little movies back in the 70s. So.
She came up with the First Order. Top of her head, man. There was no Imperial Remnant. None of that stuff.
This is the danger of bringing up Star Wars. It's going to become a Star Wars.
But before that happened, let's go ahead and shut her down. It's a fearful thing over consumption, and I think the best remedy for it for me is going to be, hey, I'm going to take this thing I've super enjoyed. I'm going to set it to the side for a minute. Maybe one or two things from it here, and go explore a new path for a little bit. And when I feel, there's some stuff here that I know, 20 new things have come out. One will probably catch my interest. I'll veer back in for a little while, and then veer back. I think if you feel like you're starting to, have overconsumption in some media, it's time to kind of swerve out of it, spend some time somewhere else, and swerve back in as, time, resources,
kind of thing.
Yeah, hentai.
What?
If you notice a pattern in that, would it really bother you?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
That's our show, everybody.
I'm ready to stop there, I'll be honest.
There's a pattern in it. It involves tentacles.
It has really gone down. The tentacles really don't show up that often anymore, I'll be honest with you.
Overconsumption.
Just got bored of it, and then they all went back to vanilla. It's weird.
You know how many 1,000-foot penis monsters I've seen by now? Bah!
Give me a loving couple on their honeymoon. Yeah, that's some good shit. Alright, let's cut it. Let's go. This has been our show today. See y'all later.
Peace.
Nobody's even getting to say their names the way I... Okay.
No, because we started talking about porn and we cut it at porn.
Alright.